Have you ever had the experience of encouraging people to do a bit more reviews and help them or guide them to become maintainers? Because that is the other thing that I experienced is that people, upload their changes for review and
It's
are
a
involved in the
challenge.
project in
Yeah,
some level, but doing code review themselves, that's, oh, I'm new, I can't do that, and
yeah.
it's actually
It's
not
like
true.
a ladder here. So first they contribute their first patch, right, or the first pull request, and that is good. And then you have to be friendly and responsive to that first one, so that if at least, I mean, their first experiences shouldn't be bad. And then when they and I have all the stats in the curl project, so I can see that over 60% of all patches we ever merged was just a single time committer, right? So 60% never comes back. So that's kind of a failure already there, right? But you want them to be able, and you want them to feel that they can come back, right? So, and if they come back, then here's a returning contributor. That's a good sign, right? And then if they show knowledge and skill and will and everything, then you can offer them to sort of become a maintainer. But the next level, if they do, and if they've contributed X amount of stuff and they clearly know their stuff, and they become a maintainer and they become submitting things more regularly, that's awesome. But it takes another step for them to actually become reviewer of those things, because I guess it depends on which kind of project, and your own confidence and maybe age, or I don't know, complexity of the project. But it takes sort of a next level of confidence to actually think that your little you could actually help out here and contribute by reviewing other things to this project. But of course, we want to push every contributor to become a maintainer, to become a reviewing maintainer, because that's the sort of the ultimate goal, right? To have as many reviewers as possible that aren't me, so that we can be more people to share the burden, and not only reviewing them, but saying thumbs up and actually merging the patches too, so that we can become more of a distributed machine to do that, to help each other out and work better without relying on any single individuals. That's a challenging thing to do, of course, and all you can do is pretty much encourage the others and, hey, try it out and ask them. I think it's back to communication, is asking and telling them that it would be appreciated if they express their opinion about this thing. And I think I usually, I'll try to do this anyway. I try to help by, for example, if I know that person A has contributed something in this area of the code, and someone else is offering a patch, and then I ask that person, hey, what do you think about this? Because I know that person has written a lot of that code. That person is probably much better than me to actually review it. But if I don't ask them, they won't do it because they feel that a little bit intimidated. And I don't know. But on a direct question, it's much easier for them to say, hey, if you're asking me, well, I think it, blah, blah, blah. So I think that works as a pretty good way to at least get them involved in the project, in the process, and think about a review as a more regular task. So if I keep asking different persons for different kinds of things. So at least, even if it takes even longer for them to actually then do it themselves, maybe that isn't even necessary. Maybe it can work quite well if I just ask a lot of people. If I know who to ask, then I ask. And sometimes, of course, it doesn't work because that person I'm asking has gone or isn't interested, or I don't know, is just bored or tired or sick. I don't know. And then I would do it myself anyway. But it's at least a pretty good way to share the load a little bit and get people involved, even though they might not actually themselves feel as reviewers. They feel more like, oh, they're answering a question here. Is this okay? Yeah, might be okay. And I try to do that even before they become maintainers, because a lot of times you get a PR from someone. If it's reasonably big, then someone actually feels that, hey, person A wrote this. That person is, for quite a long time afterwards, the most suitable person to comment on changes to that code. So that's really a good way to just I'm going to ask this person again. And when someone changes that, even though he probably doesn't view himself as a maintainer. He's not listed anywhere as a maintainer, but I know that this person is very knowledgeable about this. So I keep asking that person for help there. And I think that works pretty good.
I love that. I think it also, yeah, as we said, it goes back to clear communication, because I think there's some misconception about maintainers in two senses. One, that it's their job to maintain the project, as in fixing the things and the documentation, and it's also, the other one is it's their maybe solely their responsibility to review everything, because they must be the people who are holding all the knowledge. They are the experts, they understand the code the best. And especially projects that grow big and the code base is large, even the maintainers themselves don't have the coverage of the entire code base entirely. There are areas that are just like, I don't have the expertise, and we may not have maintainers who have the expertise to that code base anymore. And it's just, I think so many people who come to these projects, they are like, oh, why would I review anything? Like, I'm not a maintainer in this project. And it's just, it doesn't even occur to people. But I really love what you said in terms of not just telling people that you should review, because some people think that, yeah, I probably should, and then they never find the time. And then other people are like, yeah, whatever. It's not my responsibility to do. But if you ask a question about a particular change and ask for their opinion, then they, on one hand, more likely to review the thing. And it's also like, it gives it a purpose. So
Yeah.
you're technically, it sounds like you're not asking them to do a code review. You're asking their opinion about an incoming change.
Yeah, more like that, exactly. And I also help them to realize what to look at and when, right? Because then they don't have to really care about the entire flood of things happening. I can just, hey, cherry pick these three things. I think you can answer the question. And as you say, they can just feel like they're answering questions. They don't even actually have to say, thumbs up or down. They can just answer a question, maybe. Do you think this is the right way to do this? And if they say yes, yeah, and then it follows the code style, every test is okay, then that is an implied okay. But I didn't actually ask them to review it. So I think it worked. Of course, that entire premise sort of only works if I know exactly who to ask, and so that I have to sort of juggle that. But usually it works because it's in curl, it's not that big, so I can usually do that. Otherwise, I can just git log or git blame the code to quickly remind myself who exactly was around in this code recently. So
I assume that people just get the hang of it once you start asking questions. I mean, the people who are responsive to, obviously, to the question that you asked, or like asking for their opinions, like those who respond, they have at least that spark of interest of answering the question, and maybe then feeling more encouraged to look at the code itself, to the code change. And then if
and
you keep
yeah,
asking those opinions, then maybe they will feel that they are making an impact in the project, right?
they feel that make an impact. They feel recognized, and they feel. Ideally, they feel that responsibility, right? That's I'm the most suitable person to talk about this area of the code. So they feel entitled a little bit, and it's a little bit of pride in there too, maybe at times. So, and that's good, right? Why not? So, and it's to the benefit again for the project, right? We all benefit from this if you just answer these tiny questions. And usually, then, if you spread it out and there are many people around, it's not that much work for that single person, but it helps the project at large because it distributes it over many instead of few. At least if you have a lot of people involved. Otherwise, it could still be few, but okay.
I mean, yeah, It's more just the approach to it that I really like, because I do have the experience of, giving a million reasons why it's good to do code review, and not just to the project where you're reviewing the code, but also to you. Like, I think it's a great learning experience. Like, you can learn so much about the
Yeah,
project by doing code reviews, and not just the incoming changes that evolve the project, but any area those changes touch, you will learn how that area works, especially if you have time to play with the tests and all the things. But even if you don't, like, you learn a lot. But that's a little bit similar to telling people to go to the gym and work out or walk at least
yes,
10,000 steps a day.
it's
Everyone
good
knows
for you.
that it's good for you. Many people don't do it. So,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's very similar to that. You know it's good and you know that you should, but
yeah, but it's like, if you I don't know, keep asking people to meet at a place, and they might walk there if it's close enough or something. Or I don't know what the best analogy to this is, but it's like you're asking people to come play in a football game, like a friendly game, because you don't have enough people in the team, and then they come and then they move, and then it was good for them and it was good for
yeah,
the team, and then the game happened, and you didn't just tell them to go move because that's what's healthy. So you're kind of asking them to come play, as opposed to telling people that playing would be a good exercise for you.
yes, it's more like that.
I'll try that myself when I get the opportunity the next time. It's a little bit of extra work for a maintainer to keep an eye on people like that, but I think it sounds like a great way to be welcoming and guiding people in where to get more involved and how.
Yeah, and as you say, it's also a way to just you make people educate themselves about the project even more, even though that's not really what you ask for, but that's the end result anyway, because they get exposed for more code, more questions, more they have to dig a little bit to answer the questions. So I think that's really good, and of course that works for a subset of the pull requests anyway.